Welcome back to The Greater You. Good to see you guys again today. I'm Quentin and head life coach here at The Greater You. Today's topic that we're going to discuss is by the awesome Gottmans. The Gottmans are like the rock stars of marriage therapy. They're so great. I definitely recommend them. By the way, I'm not getting any kickbacks from any of these people I recommend. These are just people that I've studied and either taken classes from, read books on, heard in seminars, all the things over the years of being in the helping business. And this one is a great one for today. We're talking about the 4 horsemen of marriage or romantic relationships or long-term committed, relationships. So these 4 things are the enemies to happiness. They are the enemies to a good relationship. The cool thing about the Gottmans is they have some antidotes that they found. They've done extensive research in the world of relationships, and they have antidotes. So it's great. So we're going to go through each one of those and discuss them briefly for today's video. So the first one is criticism. What is criticism? Criticism is fault finding in the other person. It's pointing the fingers of blame. It's getting after them, constantly looking for things that we think they're doing wrong. It's othering them, right? It's looking at them and saying, you don't ever pick up your socks. You do this wrong. You smell bad. Criticism. It's rude, right? So criticism is that first enemy there. The solution to that, when we have a concern in a romantic relationship, use a gentle startup. What does that mean? It means like taking the time to set the stage and really showing that you have something you want to share and talk about, but you're really concerned about how that conversation is going to impact your person, the person that you're in the relationship with. So you show that, you share that. Hey, I'm concerned about this thing that I would like to talk to you about. I really want to make sure it's a productive conversation, and I don't want to hurt your feelings while we have this conversation. So do you have some time that we could talk about the way last night's dinner went or something like that, right? Use a gentle startup. So that gentle startup is going to have warmth, empathy, and care for that other person instead of us just trying to drive home with a hammer our own agenda. Okay. The second one is defensiveness. So defensiveness is kind of like standing behind a wall that's got spikes on the other side. We found with defensiveness, though, that there's usually spikes on both sides of that wall, and it's usually a box. One of those old medieval torture boxes with spikes in them, right? So when we're being defensive, we have a tendency to be blame shifting again, right? We have a tendency to not take accountability for whatever it is that we've done in the relationship that might be causing problems. So if your person uses that gentle startup with you, and then you automatically get defensive and start kind of getting after him, wow, you're going to break down that communication and it's going to cause hurt, right? So defensiveness is that tendency to absolve ourselves of responsibility and try and push the responsibility onto the other party, not taking account for our part in the relationship or the difficulty. The solution is one of my favorite solutions of all time in all things, taking responsibility or individual accountability. So what does this look like? If your person talks to you about something they're concerned about, own whatever you can out of anything. Even if what you think they said is completely out in left field, look for something in there that you can own that is yours to own. Oh, I'm really sorry that I said it in that tone of voice. I can tell that my tone of voice hurt your feelings. Oh, wow, I can tell that I didn't think through what I said and say it in a way that you would have received it. Own whatever you can to bring that defensiveness down. And you'll usually, when responsibility and accountability happen, most of the time, if you're in a loving relationship, both people's defensiveness and criticism go down right there. Okay, third one is that contempt problem. Ooh, this one it's nasty. Contempt can become in body language. All of them can be projected through body language, but contempt is like looking down your nose at someone, right? It's rolling your eyes at someone. It's giving them that kind of cold shoulder and, using a lot of like nonverbals or verbal, noises that are like, harumph. I can't believe it. Contempt is really talking down or putting the person down without even having to say a word. It certainly can come with words. The words that come with contempt tend to be pretty cutting. So contempt is nasty. It is definitely a relationship ruiner. How do we solve that? The Gottmans talk about building a culture of appreciation. They talk about um, looking at the things and creating a culture of gratitude. That contempt doesn't really coexist with gratitude. If your spouse is talking to you and they have something, a concern they're trying to talk to you about, if you're observing, and I mean this like in a totally respectful way, if you're observing like there's a sparkle in their eyes still, or like you love the sound of their voice, you may not love what they're saying, or you appreciate that they're respectful enough to even talk to you about their concerns. I actually had this stuff actually works in really good tight friendships too. I was having a pretty awesome conversation with a really dear friend today, and she mentioned something. We were talking about some differences that we have in the way we look at things or whatever. And because we have a culture of appreciation, she shared some appreciation when I asked a question that could have been a question that created defensiveness. She's like, you know what? I respect you so much for even being willing to ask that question. It was really cool. And it was the opposite of contempt. It was showing gratitude, even when we were talking about hard things. Me and my friends, we go deep, right? We're all a bunch of coaches and stuff. And so we're always helping each other out in life because life is difficult and we're stronger together, right? So building a culture of appreciation is showing and reminding yourself, even in the moment where a difficult discussion is occurring, that you actually care about this person, that you're grateful for them, that you're grateful that they're in your life, that they've spent time with you, money on you, effort on you, love on you, energy on you. That removes contempt. Contempt comes from a really hard heart and comes from a place that's super dangerous, only not only for our relationship, for our own well-being. If we're contemptuous, we're really, really, really prone to having a hard heart. And we've done videos on that before and talked about it, and there'll be more that come that touch on that topic. Not a good state to be in. The solution is gratitude, appreciation, that's pretty constant, so that when things are tough, you can remind yourself what you appreciate about that person. The fourth one here is stonewalling. Boy, and we all fall into these, right? And we can catch ourselves in these. I've done all of these in different situations, different relationships. And if we can catch ourselves, it's huge, right? So stonewalling is the act of throwing the wall up, where we're trying to ignore. Some people will call it, like, the silent treatment would be a version of stonewalling, or ignoring the person. There's been a hard text interchange and then you just ghost them for like 24 hours. You just did a stonewall, right? That's someone you're in a relationship with, right? And they're hurting the entire time that you're stonewalling them. Remember that, right? So stonewalling is putting up a wall that's quite unnecessary. It's usually compensatory. You're compensating for some insecurity or compensating for some hurt that you're holding on to. And we're definitely in a place of othering the person and blame. And so we put up this wall almost as a means to punish them. Ooh, that's destructive for close interpersonal relationships. So this whole physiological self-soothing, I would say also add to it psychological self-soothing as a solution. Why am I getting so walled off here? What's going on in me? What insecurity sparked in me? This is a huge part of the antidote here, is owning the wall. Whoa, I just, like, what would happen if you're in a conversation with a good buddy and you guys have a tough conversation, something goes sideways, and you start stonewalling your buddy and you're like, whoa, bro, like, I just totally recognize that I cut you off there and put a wall up. I'm so sorry. So you've got to be able to self-soothe yourself to be able to do that. Take a few deep breaths. Physiological self-soothing is focused on the breath is number one. We don't always have access to splash cold water on our face. If you can take a bathroom break, splash some cold water on your face, change the state. We found that with like DBT, dialectical behavior therapy, Linehan's work. We've all found that that stuff works. Cold cloth on the back of the neck. any of those things to change your state, go outside, take a little break, go outside if it's colder outside, if there's a change in temp between inside and outside. Getting outside, taking your deep breaths outside can really help change the physiology that's going on in your brain and interrupt that anger path. Then come back. If we're going to do that, though, with the self-soothing, remember there's another person in the relationship that's feeling that stonewall. You've got to communicate to them, I'm off balance right now. I need to collect my thoughts. I need to take a break. You let them know you need to put yourself in timeout. And that can help you create a space for you to go do some self-soothing, take some deep breaths, and get yourself back on track so you can go back, take that wall down, and communicate more effectively. So those are those 4 horsemen of marriages, and I would say any close interpersonal relationship, best friends, best neighbors, really close work colleagues, people that are in the trenches together, working at life and doing things together. Any of these 4 things can come up, right? And the solutions there of using a gentle startup, taking responsibility, creating a culture of appreciation or gratitude, being good at self-soothing in our own coping, mentally and emotionally and physically, creating space and breaks, and then coming back and addressing things. Those solutions really do, they play out. They help. They really bring people back around to healing relationships. Thank you so much for watching this video. Like it if you liked it. Leave your comments in the comment section below if you would. And of course, subscribe to us. We have more content to bring to you. Thank you so much for your time today.